So we have a cult. It's the intensity of what we're doing, combined with the interest and the payoff of succeeding, and combined with the intensity of the client.
You look back at what you've done, and it's amazing considering that there's nobody else out there who does it.
There's really no other job that you get this kind of satisfaction at the end of the day, where you can step back and say that you know, I was a part of that, I built that, you know, I designed that, you know, I had something to do with that.
It all started about a year ago when my friend Jack Kelly called me and said that his buddy Greg Beeche was looking for someone to do some video work for him.
I started out in 1972, and I was in the steel erection business.
He wanted me to capture these amazing inventions he and his company came up with that enable skyscrapers to be built.
The harder they were, we had a much better chance of doing them. So we did high-profile projects from 1978 until now.
There is no such thing as a typical day for us. It all depends on, you know, what's required that day.
Major projects, like down in across from Ground Zero, we did this Goldman Sachs project.
The first building I shot, which was Goldman Sachs, which was a building just off of Ground Zero. So it was really interesting. Security was, let's say security was pretty tight, to say the least.
The panels were bomb-proof and very, very heavy and large. So the panels couldn't be installed in the normal way.
That building was the one that actually had this really unique monorail system on it. The monorail system is what enables the builders to hoist these huge, like on this building, I guess there's 7,000 pounds on this building, panels into, you know, hundreds of feet into the air.
It's constantly a challenge here. You know, there's no other place that I could work where I would be able to have the diversity. It's really just so interesting as to what we'll do.
It works the panels up into the sky and then around this monorail system so that they can be placed into the appropriate position on the building. It's one of his, you know, most unique setups from what I understand, and definitely a very cool thing to watch in action.
I don't know how they would have done the job if we had not developed ways of taking it up the side of the building instead of in the hoist car, because it was way too big for a hoist car.
Look at it for a second, step back, and just all of a sudden the idea just comes out of nowhere. Any task you put in front of us, one way or another, we'll figure out a way to get it done.
As an engineer, getting to solve a different problem almost every day is a pretty cool job. A lot of engineers are doing the same product over and over again. Here we're just trying to do first pass on new things almost every day, so it's a lot more interesting from my point of view.
Every building is unique, so you can't tool up for a building that's 100 feet high, or 2 or 3 or 500. And the profiles, the more difficult it is that they can't find other ways of doing it, they honestly turn to us.
An architect named Peter Marino scouted out Greg Beeche Logistics to help develop, construct, and ultimately design and build the rigs necessary to lift this 10,000-pound package 700 feet plus up into the air outside of a skyscraper. It was just too big for the elevators. They couldn't even fit it in the freight elevator. People are living in this skyscraper, which poses a whole bunch of different challenges that are different from your common construction site.
We're such a dynamic company that really, whatever the demand is, everything's custom engineered, obviously. So you know, we just have to be able to adapt to whatever situation's required.
What actually evolved to this day is a kind of an erector set with multiple methods.
The cable starts on these two large spools that feed through the motors that feed the cable up through the boom, which is on the front of the rig, to the pulleys on the end of the boom and send it down to the package. Also, there's a large amount of counterweight that's placed on the end of the rig to counter the weight of the package as it goes up in the air.
We figure out a way to do it using the technology we've developed.
Beekman Tower looks like a building where the facade is melting. So all the slab edges are in and out angles. So all of our equipment was custom tailored to reach all the ins and the outs as the slab, protruded in and out.
That Frank Gehry building where the walls are leaning like a sailboat. Some walls lean in, some walls lean out. Some walls you can stand on the edge of a floor and touch.
We have a set of rules that we have to follow, but when it comes to how the system works and what it can do, yeah, we're making those rules up every day.
So that's been fortunate for us that they've made these icons that they are outrageous in the way they designed them.
We can do just about anything. We put our minds to it, we can come up with a way to accomplish it. Nothing's outlandish for us. There might be things that pushing the envelope, something nobody's ever tried before, but if there's the time and then money involved, and it's capable of being executed within the right amount of time, then we'll come up with a way.
From 01 until now, we've built our own plant, bought a piece of land, built our own plant.
The shop in Clifton Park, that's where they store everything, they build everything. That's the hub. That's where old equipment comes in to get renovated or refurbished, and new equipment, sometimes brand new, never used before.
And we've developed a big inventory of hoists that are purchased, hoist devices, and equipment that is reusable that we re-rent or refabricate into a new contract.
Obviously it's tough to change people the way they've done things in the past. That's what they know, that's what they're comfortable with, and that's okay too. But there are other ways of doing it. There's different perspectives to everything. Certain methods are going to have better advantages in one way. So it's good for people to be able to open their eyes and realize that it's not just what you've been shown. There's other ways of doing it too.
Right now we're sitting on top of our latest project. We're sitting on what we'd call rig number 11. We're right now approximately 42 stories off the ground floor, hanging out over the edge, about 6-7 foot over the edge.
This latest project involved taking 19 platforms, putting them on a rather slender high-rise building downtown, and tying 5 units together at a time, and then moving 5 4-story platforms simultaneously.
But you can rent pipe scaffold frames most anywhere and stack them like orange crates and get to the sides of the building.
All of our competitors, they sell things that are right off the shelf. It may not be ideal for what's required to perform the task, but they may have something that will serve the purpose, but it's not necessarily the right tool for the job. Whereas we will custom design something that will make it that much safer for the job, that much more productive and efficient in the process.
And the reclad of that required enclosing the exterior of 2 walls that are about 300 feet by 500 feet high. And so now if you stack orange crates there, you're going to end up with about 4 times the cost if you used our methods. So that's a big visible variance.
We had the largest crew that I've had to deal with yet, in excess of 30 men. I had various crews on various portions of the building. It was very challenging. Everything is custom. I've never done it before, as well as any of the help's never done it before. So pulling together with a good team of leaders and dedicated men to help accomplish things that no other companies have done.
The control system is a very large variable frequency drive system that runs all the hoisting motors and all the winding motors, and it does it in such a way that it monitors how fast each motor is turning to make sure the platforms stay right next to each other, and then it also maintains the torque on the winding motors so that we don't wind up with loose wire coming out of the back end of the hoist motor.
It would have been next to impossible to lift them manually by hitting buttons on the motors. They had to literally call in a company from a different country, from what I heard, to build this computer system.
It's like we bought the touch screen for the brain, but we bought two because it was so unique that if we didn't have a standby screen and that one goes down, the site gets shut down.
There's people, they have a job, they don't know how they're going to do it, what they're going to do. We come in, install a system, and it works amazingly. Some of the stuff that we've done is the first time seen anywhere in the world, pretty much.
Like this project that we really want to do in Santiago.
He asked me to put together a video to take with him to Chile to meet with the latest client that he's working with down there.
We provide technical field access systems better than any other company in the world. It's true. And we provide them to the specifications of a permanent access system to do maintenance.
He's from Chile and he wants to retire in Chile, so he said, why not? You know, why not try to do something in Chile and actually maybe start another business down there?
We want to develop a base in Santiago for future work and to fabricate and create a business down there.
As far as us having competitors, yeah, there's other people out there. You know, there's buildings being constructed wherever. Architects will come up with different designs and they'll be built. But will they be built as safely and efficiently as possible? I don't think so. I don't think anything can compete with something that's custom engineered. You know, you can't really put a price on that, and it's giving the client what they want and what they need.
Our clients, we do 30 projects in 6 months. They do 2, 3. But we're aware of all the different projects and the different available technologies, panels and sizes, and we recommend a lot to our clients.
Now, I know that every time I'm hanging out with everybody that's part of Beeche, I feel like I'm part of the family. They really welcome me in and they really take care of me. It's something that you don't really get with many clients, if any. It's really an amazing experience working with them.
The uniqueness of our developed erector set, or mecano, as they say in Europe and in South America. We can take multi-tasks and multi-disciplines on a project like this Santiago job better than any other company.
You know, it's great to sit back at the end of these jobs, after something's installed or after the project's complete, be able to say, I was part of that. You know, I was an integral piece of that. So was the whole team that worked with us, and look at what we were able to do. And, you know, hopefully we're giving, you know, making the construction industry realize there's a better way of doing things. And they have to think outside of the box as well.
At the end of the day, when you look at a project that you're done with and you step back and say, I had a part of that. You know, it's cutting edge technology. Not everyone does what we do. I've never seen any platform like that before.
It's solving really unique problems in the construction industry, high-rise construction industry.
We've done things and come up with things. By the time we're done with it, I look back and I just think to myself, how the hell did we do it?
We've done in New York City in 10 years maybe 400 projects. And each project is unique, not totally, but unique to its own and then similar. And so now, in the exposure of all these projects, we're at another level now. So our real success in the access business was sporadic until about 10 years ago. That I started a new company after I thought I was going to retire. And good thing I didn't, because that's when all hell broke loose for us.